So this is paper 2FR. So this was the foundation paper taken by the regions. That means countries outside the UK on the 6th of June 2019. So normal kids in the UK would have taken just normal 2F. This is 2FR. So this just gives you an alternative paper to practice. So question 1. The table shows the distance kilometres from London to each of 5 cities. Write the number 9,280 in words. Okay, so 9,280. Okay, right, part B. Which of the 5 cities is nearest to London? So if it's nearest to London, it's the smallest distance from London. So that's going to be New York. Right, write down the value of the 7 in 10,734. So that's in the hundreds column. So you need to write down 700. Right, part D. Which of these 5 cities is 7,962 kilometres from London? Well, that's 7,962. That's Kolkata. And write the number 16,983 correct to the nearest thousand. So to the nearest thousand, the answer is just going to have thousands. So is it 16,000 or is it 17,000? Well, it's clearly nearest 17,000 because it's over 16,500. So to the nearest thousand, it's 17,000. Question 2. How many naan breads were sold on Wednesday? Well, each of these rugby ball shapes is 8 naans. So these are 3 of them, so 3 8s are 24. Right, how many more naan breads were sold on Saturday than Friday? How many more? Well, Friday we got 8 and 8, which is 16. Saturday we've got 8, add 8, add 8, add a quarter, which is 2. So 8, 3 8s are 24, add 2 is 26. So how many more were sold on Saturday than on Friday? Well, that's 26 take away 16, which is 10. Right, 12 naan breads were sold on Sunday. Show this information in the pictogram. So 12. So we need 1 whole rugby ball, which is 8. Then we need another 4, which is going to be half a rugby ball. So I've done that side of the rugby ball, and perhaps that should have been a little bit fatter than that, shouldn't it, really? So let's just redo that. So it's got to be half a rugby ball, isn't it? So it's sort of like that. You could have drawn the top half. I've just drawn the sort of left-hand half, so that's fine. That's 8 and 4 is 12. Right, the manager of the restaurant says more than 100 naan breads were sold in the restaurant from Wednesday to Sunday. Is that correct? So let's have a look. Wednesday was 24. Thursday, 8, add 8, add 4, so 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And we're doing, what are we doing it from? Wednesday to Sunday. So we also need to include the 12 on Sunday. So if we add those numbers up from Wednesday to Sunday, we've got 24, add 20, add 16, add 26, add 12, which is 98. So is the manager correct? And you say the manager is not correct. 98 naan breads were sold from Wednesday to Sunday. Question 3. Write down the word from the box that describes the angle marked X. Well, this angle is more than 90, but less than 180, so that is an obtuse angle. Had it been less than 90, it would have been acute. Had it been more than 180, it would have been reflex, and a right angle is when it's at 90 degrees. Right, write down the mathematical name of the following polygon. Well, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shapes. So an 8-sided shape is an octagon. So octagon. Question 4. So Imran throws an ordinary fair dice. So that's a normal dice with sides 1 to 6. On the probability scale, mark with a cross X the probability the dice will land on a 10. Well, it's impossible that a normal dice will land on a 10, so X marks the spot at 0. Now, landing on an odd number, well, the odd numbers are 1, 3, and 5, so that's half the numbers, so it's a 50% chance that it lands on an odd number. The probability is 0.5 because it's 50-50. Question 5. From the list, write down a square number. So a square number is you get when something times itself gives you the square number. Okay, so 100 would be a square number because 10 times 10 is 100. So from this list, the only square number is 81 because 9 times 9 equals 81. Now, a factor of 50 means it's a number that goes into 50. So a whole number that goes into 50. So the whole numbers that go into 50 are 1 and 50, because 1 times 50 is 50. 2 and 25. 5 and 10. And that's it, I think. Yes, 1, 2, 5, 10, 25, and 50. So looking at the list we've got there, the factor of 50 is 10, because 10 fives are 50. Now, prime number, prime number has only 2 factors, 1 and itself. And the only prime number here is 23. Everything else has got more than 2 factors. I mean, 10 is even, 27, 9 3s are 27, 30 is even, 42 is even, 52 is even, 74 is even, and 9 9s make 81. Question 6. So you can do the 6 totally in your calculator. So use the third bottom down on the left, which has got the white rectangle over the black rectangle. Then your calculator will be clicking on the top, on the numerator, the top rectangle. So do 9.24 multiplied by 4.35. Then use the big arrows, go downwards, so it's then flashing on the bottom, and do 6.57 added to 2.19, and we get 6699 over 1460. So press the SD button, and that will turn it into 4.58835 6164. Let's just check that. 4.58835 6164. Now, to 2 significant figures, don't confuse this with 2 decimal places. This just means 2 digits in total. So that's going to be 4.6. And it's not 4.5 because we look at the next digit and that's 5 or above. So this number is closer to 4.6 than it is to 4.5. Question 7. So write down the coordinates of B. So that's 2 to the right and 3 up. So that's 2, 3. Write down the letter with coordinates 2 minus 2. So that's 2 to the right and then 2 down. So that's D. E would have been minus 2 minus 2. Now find the coordinates of the midpoint of AC. So the midpoint of any 2 coordinates, you just average the X coordinates and you average the Y coordinates. So the A coordinate is minus 2, 3. The C coordinate is 4, 1. So to average the x coordinates, we've got -2 and we add it to 4 and halve that. And for the y coordinates, we're averaging 3 and 1. So taking the x coordinate, -2 add 4 is 2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 add 1 is 4, half of 4 is 2. I mean, you probably could have just drawn the line in on your graph, and you could just see that it's 1 down, 3 across, just to get halfway along. But this averaging of the x coordinates and averaging of the y coordinates will work when you start getting into fractions of squares and what have you. So it's worth knowing, I think. Question 8. So if we go and do 1,200 divided by 445, that's going to show us how many pencils we can actually buy, because 1,200 is the amount we've got, and each pencil costs 45. Now that says we can buy 26.666 forever pencils. Now clearly we can't afford 27 pencils, so we were going to buy 26. So we're going to buy 26 pencils, each of them costing 45 rupees. So 26 times 45 is 1170. Now the question asks us how much change should we get. So that's 1,200 take away 1170, which is 30 rupees. Question 9. Now we all know how to tell the time, but I just think it's ever so easy to make mistakes on these, so do be very careful. I think it's best just to start doing it by hours using your fingers. So if we go from 7:25, okay, 1 hour takes us to 8:25, 9:25, 10:25, 11:25, 12:25. So I think 5 hours will take us to 12:25. So just check that on your fingers. All right, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 25. Now, going from 12:25 to 13:15, that is 50 minutes. Okay, it's 10 minutes short of being another whole hour. So the answer is 5 hours, 50 minutes. Question 10. So work out the size of the angle marked X. Now this kite is a four-sided shape, so the angles are going to add up to 360. Any quadrilateral adds up to 360. And because it's a kite, these two angles here are going to be the same. So that angle there is also 90 degrees. So we've got 90, add 90, add 140, being 3 of the angles. So that's 90, add 90, add 140, which is 320. And the angles in any four-sided shape add up to 360. So the fourth angle must be 360, take away what the other 3 added up to, which is 40. Now, a couple of ways of working out the area of a kite. I think the easiest thing is just to break it down into 2 triangles. Now, how do you work out the area of a triangle? It's half times base times height. So the area of this triangle PQR is going to be half times 12 times 33, which is 198. And we've got 2 of those triangles, 2 with each having the same area. So overall, the area is going to be 2 lots of 198, which is 396 centimeters squared. Question 11. So we're trying to pack these bricks into this crate. So given that the brick is 9 along, how many are going to fit in as you put them in long ways, with each of them being 9? Well, 9 eighths are 72, so you're going to be able to fit 8 bricks in lengthwise. Now, depth-wise, each of the bricks is 3 deep, and the crate is 36 deep, so that's 12 bricks you can fit in depth-wise. So as you pack the floor of the crate, you'll have 8 times 12 bricks. Now height-wise, the crate is 75 and the bricks are 5. So doing 75 divided by 5, we get 15. So you can fit in 15 bricks height-wise. So how many bricks can you fit into the carton? It's going to be 8 times 12 times 15. So 8 times 12 times 15, which is 1,440. So you can fit in 1,440 in one crate. Now, Carl has 4 crates, so he can fit in 4 lots of 1,440, which is 5,760. So, is there enough room in the crate for 5,000? So we say there isn't. Yes, there is, because he's got 5,700. Is there enough room? There is enough room. And then just explain what you've done. As 1,440 bricks will fit into one crate. So there is enough room. For 5,760 bricks in 4 crates, or something like that. Okay, question 12. Find the median number of matches. Well, we've got 40 boxes of matches, so the middle one is going to be 40 divided by 2, which is the 20th box. Okay, so where is the 20th box lying? So how many matches are in the 20th boxes? Well, there's 13 boxes. Have we got to our 20th box yet? No, we haven't. But once we add 13 and 8 together, we've got to 21 boxes. So we have got to our middle box, our 20th box. So how many matches are in this middle box? Well, it's 22. Now, to work out the mean number of boxes, we cross multiply. We've got 13 boxes with 21 matches, 8 boxes with 22 matches, and so on. So to work out the total number of matches, we're going to cross multiply. So 21 times 13 is 273. 22 times 8 is 176. 23 times 8 is 184. 24 times 6 is 144. And 25 times 5 is 125. So adding up all those matches, we get 273, add 176, add 184, add 144, add 125, which is 902 matches. So 902 matches spread across 40 boxes is 22.55 matches. Now don't simplify that, don't round that, leave it as 22.55. Question 13. So to solve this, let's undo the minus 5 to start with by adding 5 to each side. So 3f equals 16. How do you undo a timesing by 3? You divide by 3. So f is going to be 16 to be divided by 3. You can make that a mixed number, but I wouldn't. Just leave it as the top of your fraction. That would be fine. Now for part B, expanding means getting rid of the bracket. So we use the claw when we multiply. W times W is W squared. Get the sign right. It's a plus sign. W times 3 is 3W. Now work out the value of y when e is minus 3. Now what I suggest you do is set it out using brackets. Okay, so set it out like that and simply put that into your calculator, because this will protect the minus. You've got to be ever so careful when you're squaring a -3. -3 squared is 9. Unless you put it in a bracket, your calculator is going to tell you it's -9. So if you go and put that into your calculator, it will give you the correct answer, okay, which is -3 squared is 9, 9 fives are 45, 45 at 20 is 65. But you can just take the pressure off having to mentally work it out if you remember to put the -3 in a bracket and then just simply substitute that into your calculator. Now for part D, when we're factorising a quadratic, so we've got some x's, x squared, some x's and some normal numbers, we know our final answer is going to be a pair of brackets where the first term is x. Okay, remember factorising means putting the brackets back in. Now what about our two magic numbers? Now they're going to multiply to be the number on the end, the -36, but at the same time they will add to be the coefficient of x, the -5. So which two numbers both multiply to be -36 but add to be -5? And that is -9 and 4. Because -9 times 4 is -36, and also -9 add 4 is -5. So your final answer is x minus 9, x plus 4, or the other way around, x plus 4, x minus 9. But you must get the signs right. It must be a +4 and a -9. Question 14. Now I think for this, we've got the ingredients for 6 pies. I think it's going to be easier if we consider how much ingredients you need for 1 pie. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to divide each of these ingredients by 6 to work out how much of each ingredient I need for 1 pie. So starting off with the flour, 150 divided by 6 is 25. 420 divided by 6 is 70. 170 divided by 6 is 28.3 recurring, so let's call that 28.33. And for the butter, 95 divided by 6 is 15.83 recurring, let's call that 15.83. So that's how much of each ingredient I need to make 1 pie. So this is the amount of ingredients I've got. So I can take each in turn and work out if that was my ingredient that counts. How many pies can I make given I've got that amount of each ingredient? So for the flour, I've got 755 grams. There's 25 grams per pie. So if flour was my constraint, I can make 30.2 pies. Right, moving on to the blackcurrants. I've got 1265 grams. I need 70 for each pie. So how many pies can I make from the point of view of the blackcurrants? That is 18.07. So let's call that 18.1. And then for the sugar, I'm going to do 685 divided by the 28.3 recurring, 28.33. So 685 divided by 28.33 is 24.2 pies. And then finally for the butter, I've got 950 grams. I need 15.83 for each pie. So do 950 divided by 15.83. And I get about 60.0 pies. So let's see, 60.0. So, which ingredient am I going to run out of first? That's going to be the blackcurrant. I've only got enough blackcurrants to make 18.1 pies. So what's the greatest number of blackcurrant pies that Mireille could make? So the greatest number of pies Mireille can make is 18. Okay. Question 15. So for part A, use the graph, find the amount of petrol used. Truck travels 150 kilometers. Okay. So let's take 150 kilometers. All right, there's 150 kilometers. Let's go along. All right, then go down and take a reading. Okay, so that's where we're hitting. And looking at this scale at the bottom, going from 10 to 15, that's 10 baby squares covering 5. So each 2 squares is 1. So that's 11, that's 12, that's 13, that's 14. So where have we got to? We're halfway between 13 and 14. So that's 13.5 kilometers. Now for part B, find the distance that Chuck travels. Right, so he's living in Fiji. The petrol cost him $16.24. No, he spent $16.24, and it's 2.03 per litre. So if we do 16.24 divided by 2.03, we see that he bought 8 litres. So we've now got to take a reading on 8 litres. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is there, 7's there, and 8 is there. So 8 is 6 squares along. So taking a reading there, 6 squares along. That's taking me to there. That's given me a reading. Again, this is going up in 2s. So 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I've got a reading of 90 kilometers. Question 16. So for part A, measure the bearing of B from A. So measuring it from A. Now the bearing is always the angle measured from north. So we want to measure this angle here. All right, whoops, didn't need to make that to move. This angle here, okay? That's the bearing of B from A. So getting my protractor over on top of this, I can see that's at 80 degrees. Okay, that's at 80 degrees. Just get dead straight. There we go. It's bang on 80 degrees. So with the bearing, another thing you need to remember is that you always give it as 3 digits. So given it's 80 degrees, we must put a 0 in front. So it's 0, 80 degrees. Now for part B, we're told another statue C is on a bearing of 120 from B. So bearing of 120 from B on this occasion. So let's go and put our protractor on B and get an angle, a bearing of 120. So that's coming off at that angle there. There's 120. So that's coming off at that angle. Okay, so that's coming off at that angle. Now, how far along are we going to go? Well, this question is saying that it is 4.5 kilometers from B, but we're told each kilometer is 2 centimeters. So 4.5 kilometers is going to be 9 centimeters along here. Now, I can't draw a line and measure at the same time. But imagine this is a ruler, okay? You're going to need to come along 9 centimeters on that angle. So let's say that was 9 centimeters long, okay? And mark the position of statue C with the cross X. So basically, that's going to be where my C is, providing that is 120 degrees. And you have made that length there exactly 9 centimeters long. Question 17. Write down the inequalities shown on this number line. Well, we can see it's all the values from -3 upwards. Now, because that is not filled in, it doesn't include -3 itself. So we want all the values where x is greater than -3. Okay, had that been a filled in circle, we'd have said x is greater than or equal to -3, but that wasn't the case here. Now for part B, solve this inequality. Now just do this like a normal algebra as if it was an equal sign. So I'm going to take all my y's to the left hand side as that's got the greatest number of y's to start with. So I need to undo this y here. So y plus 8, 8 plus y. I need to undo this plus y. So I'm going to take away y from both sides. So that gives me 3y minus 13 is less than or equal to 8. So I've got all my y's on the left, so I want all my normal numbers on the right. So I want to undo this minus 13 by adding 13 to both sides. So 3y is less than or equal to 21. Divide both sides by 3. 21 divided by 3 is 7. So my final answer is y is less than or equal to 7. Question 18. Now you've got to be very careful with these show that questions, that you write all your workings down really carefully. So I'm going to start with my left-hand side and manipulate that until I get to an 11/12. So first things first, I'm going to make these top-heavy fractions, improper fractions. So 5 2/3 is 5 3s are 15, 16 is 17 over 3. And I'm taking away 2 4s are 8, 9 times 11, 11 over 4. So make sure you know how to convert mixed numbers into top-heavy fractions. Now, to take away, I need a common denominator, which is going to be 12. 3 and 4 are both factors of 12. So with my first one here, okay, I've multiplied the 3 by 4 to get 12, so I have to multiply the 17 by 4. 17 by 4, which gives me 68. And 11 over 4 is equivalent to what over 12? Well, 4 3s are 12, so I need to times the numerator by 3 as well. That's 33. Now 68 take away 33 is 35 over 12. And that equals 2 wholes and 11 bits left over. And that is my right-hand side. So you don't have to do the LHS, RHS business if you don't want to, but you must have those 4 steps of working, okay? All of those are going to be needed to get the 3 marks. Question 19. Now, I think with these, it's very useful to know the shape that you're going to be getting before you start. Now, this is a quadratic. It's got an x squared in it, so it's either going to be a smiley face or a sad face, positive parabola or negative parabola. We get a positive parabola when it's an x squared, a negative parabola when it's a minus x squared, and that's what we've got here. So our shape for this is going to be like this. Now, the quickest way to do these is to spot the symmetry, all right? This is symmetrical. Both these shapes are symmetrical. So I've got a 7 here and a 7 there, so I can see the symmetry straight away. So imagine I dropped a pebble in there. That 7 matches to that. Whatever that value is there is going to be the same as that one. That one we can see is the same as that one. And that value there is going to be the same as that one there. So if you can spot that symmetry, it means you don't have to do that much working out. I can go and work out the value for 4, and that will be the same value of y for 1. Similarly, when x is 6 will give me the same value for y as when x is minus 1. Okay, so let's just go and work it out for when x is 4. So when x is 4, my y value is 1 plus 5 lots of 4, take away 4 squared. Okay, and that is going to be 1 plus 20, take away 16, which is 5. And as I said, because that's 5, that is also 5. And now I'm going to work it out for when x is 6. When x is 6. So y equals 1 plus 5 lots of 6, take away 6 squared. So that's 1 add 30, take away 36. 31 take away 36 is minus 5. And now I've just got to plot all those points. So minus 1, minus 5, 0, 1, 1, 5, 2, 7, 3, 7, 4, 5, 5, 1, and 6 minus 5. Now my curve might not be great here. It's quite hard to do this on the screen. Just do not use a ruler and make it straight lines, and do not make it flat at the top. We just want a gentle curve, okay? So I will do my best, but it's hard to do on the screen. Actually, that's not too bad. Now, that is the way to do it old school, and that may well be how you need to do it. If you have been shown how to use the table function on your calculator, this is a good time to do it. It's just it's a bit quicker, and you avoid the chances of making a mistake with your calculations. But if you don't know how to do it on your calculator using the table function, don't worry, just do it how I've just shown you. Question 20. So here we've got similar triangles, which means that the bigger triangle, or the lengths of the bigger triangle, are proportionally the same amount bigger than the ones on the smaller triangle. So start off by finding the side that you have in common, which is obviously the bottom side, the 16 and the 40, and say to yourself, how many times bigger is 40 compared to 16? So to work out that, what we multiply 16 by to get 40, do 40 divided by 16, and we get 5 over 2, which is 2.5. So all the lengths of the triangle on the right are 2.5 times bigger. Now we're being asked to work out this length here, DE, which is going to be 2.5 times bigger than the 12. So do 12 times 2.5, and we get 30. Now for part B, we're told that the area of this triangle is 525 centimeters squared. And we're just being asked to convert that into meters squared. Now be careful, don't just divide it by 100, because there are 100 centimeters in a meter, but that's a length. We're talking about area. So if you think about a meter squared, 1 meter by 1 meter, that is an awful lot of centimeters squared, isn't it? It's 100 centimeters by 100 centimeters. So that 1 meter squared here is 100 with a couple more noughts put on it, centimeters squared. So to convert from 1 meter squared to centimeters squared, you need to divide by 10,000. We've got to divide by 10,000. So 525 divided by 10,000 equals 0.0525 meters squared. Question 21. So, we work out the probability that the flavour of the ice cream is either strawberry or mint. Strawberry or mint. So clearly to do this, we're going to need to know what the probability of mint is. Now, probabilities always add up to 1. So if we add up the 3 we already know and take that away from 1, that will give us the probability of mint. So 0.35 add 0.32 add 0.12. 0.35 add 0.32 add 0.12, that equals 0.79. So take that away from a whole, because as I said, they've all got to add up to a whole, is 0.21. So the probability of strawberry or mint is going to be 0.32 add 0.21, which is going to be 0.53. Question 22. So the number of games won to drawn to lost is 6 to 3 to 2. So how many is that in total, that ratio? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's a total of 11. Now, we are told that the team played 55 matches in total. So we can see to get from the ratio to the actual number of matches, we're having to times everything by 5. So 6 5s are 30, 3 5s are 15, 2 5s are 10. So we won 30, drew 15, lost 10. Now work out how many more games the team won than lost. How many more did it win than lose? So 30 take away 10 which is 20. Question 23. Now, I think with these, it's always easiest just to start off with the Venn diagram to help you gather your thoughts. So the first rugby ball is going to be A. The second rugby ball is going to be B. And start off by putting what's common to both, what we can pop in the middle. So A's got 3 squared, B's got 3 to the power of 4. So the highest common factor there is 3 squared. Looking at the 5's, we've got 3 here, 4 here. So the highest common to both is 5 cubed. And then we've got a 7 in common. So we can also put a 7 in the middle. And what are we left with then? A, we've got the 3 squared, we've got 5 cubed, so that's just a 5. We've already got the 7. So A overall has got a 3 squared, a 5 to the power of 4, and a 7. That's correct. Moving over to B then. So we need 3 to the power of 4 in total, and we've so far got 3 squared. So we need another 3 squared. 3 squared times 3 squared is 3 to the 4. 5 cubed we're already covered. We've already got that in rugby ball B. 7 we're already covered, so we just need 11. So looking at rugby ball B overall, we've got 3 to the power of 4, 5 cubed, a 7 and 11. Now, to work out the highest common factor, you multiply together all the numbers that are in the middle. You just multiply together those there. That's the highest common factor. So that's going to be 3 squared times 5 cubed times 7. So 3 3s are 9 times 5 cubed, which is 125, times 7 equals 7875. Now, the lowest common multiple is all of these numbers times together. Everything that's inside everything, or everything all together. So working left to right, that's a 5 times the 3 squared times the 5 cubed times the 7. So that's the 5 over here and all of the stuff in the middle. Then the stuff in light blue multiplied by 3 squared multiplied by 11. So pop that into your calculator. 5 times 3 squared times 5 to the power of 3 times 7 times 3 squared times 11. Whoops, hit the wrong button there. 5 cubed times 7 times 3 squared times 11 gives me 3898. 3898,125. 3898,125. Yeah, that's correct. Question 24. So, standard form. The first number's always got to be between 1 and 10. So where would you put a decimal point in this number to get a number between 1 and 10? Well, it would be between the 8 and the 4 to get 8.4. And then it's always times 10 to a power. And because this is a big number, we know that power is going to be a positive number. So the way to think about what the power is, think about the number of hops that the decimal point has done. So to start with, the decimal point is at the end. And we're having to move it to here. So how many hops is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5 hops. So it's 8.4 times 10 to the 5. Now you can check your answer by popping that back into your calculator and pressing equals to check you get 840,000. Now for part B, do this on your calculator using the fractions button, that third one down on the left, where you've got the white rectangle over the black rectangle, and also using the times 10 to the X button, which is bottom middle. Okay? So doing that, I get 6 times 10 to the 7, arrow key to go down to the denominator, divided by 8 times 10 to the minus 2, and that gives me 75. Now, how many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now that would give me 1 mark, but the question's asking me to give my answer in standard form. So again, it's got to be like the answer to part A. The first number must be between 1 and 10, so that's going to be 7.5. then how many hops are we doing to take the decimal point from there to there? Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hops on this occasion. So 7.5 times 10 to the 8. Question 25. Now, it depreciates by 18% each year. So it goes down by 18% each year. So it goes from 100% and you take away 18% from that. 100 take away 18 is 82%. Now, 82% is what we're left with at the end of each year. So the multiplier we're going to use is 0.82. Okay? The value at the start of the year multiplied by 0.82 would tell you what the value is at the end of the year, given it's depreciating by 18%. Now, you can just work it out at the end of year 1, then the end of year 2, then the end of year 3. But there is a quick way to go straight to answer. So start off with how much you bought the yacht by. Multiply this by the multiplier. But the multiplier has to be to the power of the number of years in question, which is 3 years. So if we go and put in 150,000 times 0.82 to the power of 3, that would take us very quickly to the final answer. And I get, once I press the SD button, 82,705.2. So to the nearest euro, that's going to be 82,705. Question 26. So whenever you're asked to work out an equation of a straight line, just write down y equals mx plus c to help you gather your thoughts. Now C is where the line crosses the y-axis, and we can see it's crossing the y-axis at -1. So -1 is going to be the final part of our answer, and that will be a mark. Now M is the gradient, that is the slope. So to work out the slope, we need a triangle of our choice. So choose a triangle that's going to give you whole squares only. So I'm going to go for that triangle there. Now to work out the gradient, it is the y step, which is the height of the triangle, divided by the x step, which is the base of the triangle. So that's going to be 2/1, which equals 2. However, be careful, because this line is going downwards, it's going to have a negative gradient. So we need to pop a minus in front of each of those numbers. So M is going to be -2. So our final answer is going to be y equals -2x minus 1. Question 27. Now, we're being asked to work out the length of AB, which is obviously this length here. And to do that, we're going to be using this triangle over here. But at the moment, we only know an angle. We don't know any of the sides. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by working out the length of BD here, using the green triangle. Then obviously that's the same, that length is the right-hand side of the red triangle. So step 1, I'm going to have to work out the length of BD. So looking at the green triangle, imagine yourself over here. That side is opposite. That is the hypotenuse, and that is adjacent. So the two sides that I know or need to know, well, I need to work out the opposite side, and I know the hypotenuse. So that's going to be sin. I'm going to be using sin, because remember, silly old Hitler caused awful havoc to our armies. You need to learn those ratios. So because this green triangle, I need the opposite, I know the hypotenuse, I'm going to be using sin. So sin 32 equals my opposite side, which is BD, divided by my hypotenuse, which is 3.1. Got to get it the right way around. It's got to be the opposite over the hypotenuse. So multiplying both sides by 3.1, I get BD equaling 3.1 times sin 32. So pop that into your calculator. 3.1 times sin 32, and I get 1.6427. 1.6427. ... Right, now going over to my red triangle, I now know the length BD, don't I? So looking at it from the perspective of sitting on the angle up here, BD is now my adjacent side, and I need to work out the hypotenuse. Adjacent and hypotenuse is going to be cos. So cos 42 equals my adjacent side BD, which is 1.6427, divided by my hypotenuse, which is AB. Now, I've got to be careful rearranging this. I'm going to multiply by AB and then divide by cos 42. So AB is going to be 1.6427 ... divided by cos 42. So I can pop that into my calculator. I've kept that 1.6427 already in my calculator. So I've got that exact at the moment. And then I'm going to divide that by cos 42 and press equals. And I get 2.2105 ... So to three significant figures, which means 3 digits in total, my final answer is going to be 2.21 meters.